Hey, Leanna, we're almost there. We're almost starting. Buckle up, buddy. Hey, everybody. Good evening. It's Jason LeClaire. This is Jason Robert LeClaire's Cartoons and Creatures. We are here today. I am going to be working on Fantastic Fairies. Why, you may ask? Well, why not? But let's get a little bit more detailed. So, I am going to be at the Beltane Festival at the Dragonfly Apothecary in Chepachet, Rhode Island. And I've been asked not only to show my work, I'll be selling prints, but I'll also be doing fairy portraits. So I've got to kind of formulate some pretty decent fairy looks before I start popping people's heads on them. So that's what tonight's about. I'm going to sit here and we are going to work toward getting on the paper some concepts for what we'll see on May 1st. Let's go to the drawing board. The drawing board. That's a little better. Now, for those of you who are watching in Instagram land, you just heard me and all this background stuff, but you didn't get to see my lovely face. I'm so sorry. Because the Instagram cam has to be pretty close to what I'm working on, otherwise it doesn't work good. The bad part about this is that you get my arm in the way quite a bit. So, here we go, guys. I'm going to be working on some fairies. And, oof, you know what I just realized, guys? My camera for Instagram, I love my Instagram folk. That camera is completely ill-adjusted on its tripod. Oh, there I am! And they got a sneak peek of what this fun little face looks like, and I think more funny than fun, but that's me. Oop, water ball on the shot. You better now? Okay, good. Now I can actually get up close and do my job. Here we go. I hope you guys don't have too bad of a shot on the side of my head. Alright. So, what are the kinds of fantastic fairies that we're going to bring with us? Well, it all depends on who's coming with... Who's going to the Beltane Festival. So, I'm going to expect that there's going to be parents and kids, and that there's going to be a variety of ages. And certainly a variety of interests. So it's good for me to have, oh, hello, clock. It's good for me to have some sort of basic structure here while I'm working, so I can see what exactly I would do when I am going to be doing these fairy portraits. So let's just start with somewhere in the middle. We'll start with a teenager. Now, how I do this is I've got a couple different ways I'm going to do this. One of the ways is I will be snapping somebody's face on my iPad and working with a preset body type and then making their face appear as a cartoon, much like what is in the intro slide before we started here. So the first thing you guys have to understand is how I make fairies. Fairies for me are lanky, and just kind of like very mischievous and all over the place. I love drawing them flying, because when I'm drawing them flying, they're just completely free and having a lot of fun. And the thing about this is, like, they said, oh, we're going to hire a caricaturist. That's fine and dandy, but that's not what I do. I gave up caricatures a long time ago at a local mall. Not doing that again, thank you. I'm going to do what I like to do. And what I like to do is make some fairies. So we're just going to start with a wave hand on this fairy. And kind of an out hand on this one. The wave hand is there, and I usually make like almost really cartoony sort of features. So I'm going to go with like a preteen here. It kind of doesn't matter what gender or whatnot, same basic shapes, only a couple things get altered. And we've got tons of different wings that we can use, but this is, like I said, this basic one. So I'm going to try to do the dragonfly wing on here. It is the dragonfly apothecary after all. So we're going to have fun with that. I'm going to check my chat. Nobody's looking at me on YouTube. I hope you guys are enjoying it over here. Because nobody's seeing this. That's okay. I'm not hurt. Yeah. I'm very bad at fake crying. Alright, here we go. So now that I've got the basic fairy kind of like outline of what I want to do, I like 3 fingers on my fairies because I think they're very cartoony and they're otherworldly, so I don't have a problem with them not having all the digits. In fact, why do we need a pinky? Really, seriously? We don't need a pinky. Not that I want to give up my pinky, I've grown quite attached to it. And this weekend, I had a lot of inspiration because this weekend was the home and garden show here in Rhode Island, in our state capital of Providence. We had the home and garden show, and there were just some beautiful displays. Oh my gosh. I wanted to take them all home. It was gorgeous. And of course, I got way too many ideas about, oh, I want that shed because I can turn that into a studio. Yeah, not happening right now. That's okay. I'm good with it. Alright, so let's take somebody's face. When I'm doing this, when I'm going to be drawing someone, I'm going to be using some cartoon standards while I'm doing this. So let's look at a couple of those cartoon standards that are going to appear on this fairy. Okay? One of the cartoon standards is, you know, the Disney princess eye. You'll see that in a lot of my work. I kind of go with this eye. Particularly with fairies, I like it because it's kind of like got some depth and you can do a lot with it expression-wise. But the eyes really are determined by the person you're drawing, right? Because not everybody's eyes are the same. In fact, that would be kind of boring. So I look for my standards. Doing this is formulaic. I have bases that I start with, and then I go ahead and I alter them as what I need. So another base might be something that I don't know. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to put out the basic areas of the face that I'll probably see for most people. I know it looks like a smiley face. Well, it is. If we're dealing with preteen, more than likely I can get away with kind of like some vague features. And there's kind of a certain amount of, you know, androgyny at this point with the concept art. I don't want to make it too much one or the other right now, so I'm going to take their ears, whatever their ears are, and we're going to make them my style fairy ears. I don't know why I like these ears that are almost like antennae. Oh. And then whatever hairstyle they have. I might take that hairstyle and I might put a little flower hanging out in there. And again, the actual face is going to take a lot of, ideas about what people are doing, what they're seeing, who exactly is going to be there. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I like kind of seeing where things are coming from. So chest cavity, abdomen, waist and hips, thigh, hamstring, calf. And we've got your basic fairy. Very, very basic. You're so basic. Sorry, putting on myself there. I hang out with teenagers all day. So this is the basis for most of the fairy work. It's going to be pretty standard. You're going to have the person's face in here, and then some sort of standard fairy body. Now we can do anything we want with this. So we can put magic in it. We can have, say we've got somebody that's really interested in, I don't know, there's soccer. Well, for soccer, I'd probably have the ball balancing somewhere that looks a little odd. Either here, or like on the flower, and we put that soccer ball just hanging out there. So that's usually like kids are going to be involved in whatever they're involved in, and that's cool. That's fine, and I'll just accommodate them and draw what it is I'm interested in. That's the caricature part of this, is that it kind of like takes and forms a world of its own with kids. So this is kind of where I'm at with that. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to look at, actually, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to look at some other fae folk. So not everybody's going to want to be a fairy, or your standard fairy. So let's think about some other fae folk we can play with. I wouldn't mind if somebody said, I want to be a warrior. Okay, cool. Warrior it is. But what kind of warrior do I do? Well, short of being D&D-ish, we're going to make ourselves a little bit of a goblin. Not everybody likes to be nice things. Some people like to be, things that are misunderstood, like goblins. Now, in order to do that and make the person not terribly insulted, what I have to do is I have to kind of concentrate on what their facial features are. Still make them smiling. Still make it look like them. And probably extend to them some sort of fae here. Because again, not everybody's the same. Somebody might think, this is just a really cool way to express myself, and I'm cool. So with these little mini goblins, I'll probably do something like acorn hats as their shields. And maybe they have little underdeveloped wings. They aren't quite ready. They're just baby fairies. It's always the funnest thing when somebody walks up to you and says, can you do a caricature of my baby? I'm sorry guys, but like babies don't have a lot of distinguishing features, and if they do, you probably don't want me drawing them. But that's okay. I can. So these are a couple of ideas that I'm playing with. Pardon me, everyone. For these fantastical fairies. The other thing that we can do is other fae folk. So let's take a look at some other fae folk here. I was working on some mermaid work, and I had this idea about like a warrior mermaid. Now, I didn't really like these ones. They were kind of like not quite doing what I wanted them to do. So this is where we ended up. Now I've got both of these here, and there's a new toy that I want to play with, and it's something I don't normally. I normally have not had. I'm kind of shirked away from for years. And students are gonna like laugh at me right now because I just got myself some alcohol markers. So what I'm going to try to do is I want to see what I can do with her. Let's see what we can do with the scales. I'm going to grab a variety of blues that I think would go nicely together. And some greens, perhaps. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to do like 2 or 3 colors. Who am I kidding? That's not me. Yeah, there we go. 4 colors. Oh, I want a little bit of more. We got four colors here. So, I'm not used to working with alcohol. This is a totally new territory for me, and I find it kind of exciting because I've never done it before. So, I think I'm going to start with the mid-tone right here. And I'm going to start with the fine because I've got like some really tight areas in here. I definitely want to start with the tail section. Allergies are not fun. So I'm going to start with just a little bit of a shadowish sort of piece here. And again, this is an experiment, so let's see what it does now. I'm going to switch over to the aqua mint. Actually sounds kind of tasty. And let's it's pretty good, but it doesn't give me enough contrast. It definitely is giving me some sort of gradient vibe. Okay, artist friends out there, how do you describe gradient to somebody if they only know it as ombre? Are they really the same thing? Inquiring minds want to know. That's kind of cool. I like that. Okay, I think we might pursue that. But as I do that, I want to make sure that I'm breaking out all the fun colors. So let's grab an Indian blue, just to give us a little bit of a darker portion up here. There we go. So once again, I will be making fairy portraits or fae portraits of people on May the 1st up in Chepachet, Rhode Island. So if you are local, come on over to the Dragonfly Apothecary on May 1st, which is a Sunday, and come and see me. I will have all of my favorite drawings of fairies, of the fantastical. My dragons will be there, and I'll be doing fairy portraits. So I'd love to see you. It's going to be a great day of celebration and fun. Lots of vendors. There's a food truck coming, so I hear, which, you know, I heard food and that just kind of like, yeah, I'm sold, I'll do it. But, in all seriousness, it's the holiday for the Wicca faith that lies between spring equinox and summer solstice. Like the halfway point. Most people know it as May Day, and there are a lot of people that celebrate that in different ways. But this is the kind of like the original, the modern version of the original, but this is the original. So, being at that festival, I'm going to have a lot of fun and have a lot of artwork. My originals will be for sale. I'm going to have some limited edition giclée prints of the Green Man and of my 3 witches from Macbeth. So those are 2 pieces that I thought deserved to get a little bit of a nice treatment. The rest of the pieces will be in prints. They will not have a limited run. They will be numbered, but they won't have a limited run. And I'll be selling those has fit prints in bags, ready to rock and roll, and you can go ahead and get them framed at your local frame shop, or just tack them to a wall somewhere. I don't know. Whatever floats your boat. Aquament again. I'm kind of liking these colors. I'm sorry for every kid that I ever said, that's not a professional tool to, unless, I always thought of it more as a tool for people that are designing cars and such, because this is what they do. They use markers to get it put together. These things are a very fun device, I'm finding, and now I feel bad. So I'll probably be using these markers when making the portraits as well, and there'll be different prices for full color versus black and white, etc. So the way it's going to work is I am going to find out what you want for a fae folk, whether it's a mermaid or a fairy or a little troll, goblin, or whatever, or a pixie. And then I'll probably take a snapshot of your face, or whomever you're buying it for, and you can go off and enjoy the festival. And in about 20 minutes, I will have a full-out black and white for you. If you want color, it will probably take a bit longer. And if you want a digital, well, I haven't quite figured that out. But I will, don't worry, I've still got a couple weeks. Thank you for all the people that are joining me on Instagram. Really helpful to see wonderful, wonderful names and icons up there that are people I care about and love to see. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. It was a gorgeous day here in Rhode Island. It was a little chilly. Didn't get much above 50. But the sun was out. These were bright, beautiful clouds, and all that jazz. And I had a great time. It's India Blue. No. It's going to play. Make that a shadow color, so that's going to kind of like that works out pretty good. So I'm okay with that. Fine, that's good. I want to try to do some sort of skin tone, however, and that's where things get a little bit messy, I'm finding, with these markers. So I need to practice some, and I'm fine with that. Practice is what makes it work. If you don't go ahead and work your practice, what's the point? So that is a color called Skin White. And I am of the opinion that I can use several colors all the time to make this happen. I'm going to try a bit of bronze. And I want to get some life in there, so we'll use a light pink. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And then what happens when I start working on this stuff? Ooh, that's a big one. That's kind of more than I bargained for. It's okay. That would be the dark side coat. And then what happens if I throw a little pink in there? Not bad. Then I'm going to start with some other colors that I think would be better done properly. Dark chocolate, let's move that into a natural oak. We'll gradient it down into a mahogany. And then bring it into a raw umber. Cool. Liking these things more and more and more. Well, guess what I'm doing for the next couple weeks is I'm practicing these suckers. As I get closer and closer to getting this done. So let's attack the mermaid's face. That sounded really bad out of context. And I think what I want to do is I actually kind of want to make a little bit of, I want to make some blue tone in there. I don't know why, I just do. Probably because she's a mermaid. And fae folk don't have to be in a particular color. They can do whatever they want. They're fae. So when I take that and I'm going to grab one of those other colors that I was playing with, I think I grab the light pink. There's something different going on. I feel like I'm creating a Monster High doll. If anybody remembers those from the early 2010s. Kids were very much into those. They were fun. I'm going to take that, what they call skin white. Come in here with me. Go right over that pink with it. Blend it all together. Leaving the blue tinges out there for all to see and love. I like it. That looks pretty cool. That makes me happy. Ooh, we got more people joining in. Hi, y'all. Wave, wave, wave. Okay. That works quite well. I'm liking it so far. So, let's go back to what we were working on. And think of how we are going to... This is when I try to showcase how to draw oranges. working on these guys. So let's try to form them up first. In order to do that, I kind of need to set them up with some sort of, well, frankly, microns. The reason why is because microns are absolutely wonderful at being, I love the fact that they're very, very water resistant, and they give beautiful detail all the time. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, anybody else having fun with allergies right now? As you can hear, mine are kicking my butt. That's okay. I don't mind. I didn't need that butt. Let's start on this one over here. So, normally, what I'm probably going to do when I do these portraits on the first is I'm going to really work on getting the facial structure correct, but I'm going to do mostly a giant contour on the outside. And what a contour is the outside makeup of a figure, an object, whatever. In this case, the contour for me is all the exterior outlines. Makes the contour. So I'll start with that. I'll use a pretty thick pen for that one. Again, formulaic. It's some things that I normally do. Fairies, pats. But I also want them to kind of look like leaves. Just a thing. Now I'm not going to outline those wings because they are dragonfly wings and they need to have only, a very thin outline or color on them. That was the worst hand I have ever done. That's okay. I'm just sketching. And as my students know, you have to do a lot of sketching before you get it right in the first place. That's what tonight's exercise is for. I'm going to have to be doing a lot of these, I hope. Especially if all you wonderful people that are in the local vicinity of me, in Rhode Island, Southern Mass, whatever, come and join us at Beltane at the, oh, there's my clock. Bailey, it's okay, it's just a clock. For those of you that don't know him, Bailey is my trusty and wonderful beagle who decides that he wants to join me down here quite frequently while I am in the studio working on stuff. And for the most part, it's his nap time because that's his contribution to my work. And this is why I tell people to come back in 20 minutes. Because I need the time. Go ahead and make this happen. If I were doing like a 30-second caricature, that's a different story. Even if you're getting a good one of those, it's at least a 5-minute sit time. I don't know how much you guys can see on Instagram right now. I'm trying to notice that my hand is not in the way so much. And those of you who are on YouTube watching me, thank you very much for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel. And I try to get this done every Sunday night. Speaking of which, I will not be here next Sunday. Next Sunday is a holiday for a lot of folk, and I am going to enjoy some family time. Not that I don't like you all, but I will not be uh, broadcasting that day, streaming that day. So don't take it as an insult. I still love you. But I get overstepped. That's family oriented and fun, frankly. It's a lot of fun. I get a lot of fun doing this. But I have a lot of fun with my family getting to see them and chilling with them for a little bit. And I hope you get some time to be with your family too. It is that Sunday sort of vibe. So as I mentioned, there was the Rhode Island Home and Garden Show this weekend at our convention center. It was really, there were wonderful, wonderful, wonderful products there. For me, it was really nice to see so many companies available that are doing solar panels and other environmental energy sources to help out with the climate and climate change. And they were talking on a consumer level. That's the thing that's really interesting for me. These companies have been around for a long time. Solar energy is not new. But on a consumer level, it is. To the extent that it is right now. And for that, I'm very glad. And the entire event was kind of sponsored for that, to that end. As you walked in, it was all the electric company that provides electricity here in Rhode Island, which would be National Grid. They had all their eco-friendly bulbs out for super low prices. You know, like $1 for an LED to replace your regular stuff. I work with LEDs here all the time. That's actually all I have. But I do like to make sure that I have different variations on. So I've got cool white, warm white, all sorts. So now I'm grabbing this really almost marker-like micron. And again, the reason why microns are very valuable in this industry, for what I'm doing anyway, for cartooning, is because they are waterproof and they don't run. They set very, very quickly. So when I'm going to attack this with the alcohol markers, it won't run and mix with my alcohol markers. My first alcohol marker experiment ended really badly. I had this drawing that I've been working on for quite a few hours, and I put it aside and broke it out to test the markers with. And I had done it in ballpoint. Yeah. Don't put marker over ballpoint. It's not a good thing. It destroyed the picture, and I am long lamenting it, but I will go ahead and get that particular fairy put back where she belongs. That's why there are light tables. Alright, so now we've got this little fairy chap. Over here, I'm going to grab my Ginormous eraser. One thing I don't do is I do have electric erasers. The mouth is not functioning today. The allergies are kicking in right on top of my respiratory system, so pardon me for flubbing that one up. Anywho. So I don't use those as much for stuff like this. I save those for final pieces, and also if I'm going to draw in negative, like we did a couple weeks ago, where I made a graphite painting and then came back to it with the electric erasers and pulled out some spaces for some nice highlights. And yes, I do have a little eraser brush. I've always said this, and it actually holds very, very true, that it is just as important to have the proper tools as it is to have the proper skill to do anything you want to. And I think that that's one of those things that my dad taught me years ago. My dad and I used to do odd jobs and build decks for people in the late 80s. He'd take me out on construction jobs and we'd do stuff. He was a shop teacher, so he had a very good reputation for being very handy. And so we went out and I learned a ton from him over a few years working with him on stuff, odd jobs here. And I'm glad I did, because now I use a lot of that when I'm doing stuff like constructing theater sets. Not that I do that very often. I'm working on one right now, but I haven't worked on one in 2 years, obviously, because we haven't had theater in 2 years. So, we are going to look at getting this little guy some sort of tonality and using the markers to help with that. So let's see. Again, these can be any number of shades. Does not have to be any particular color. It just is what it is. So I think I'm going to get rid of that skin white for now because it's kind of like weirding me out. And I'm going to grab... What is he going to grab, everybody? Oh, fruit pink and light pale pink. Okay, you ready, buddy? Here we go. Fruit pink and light berry pink. Oh, that looks really kind of weird, but let's have some fun with it. Ooh, it's orangey. You get to be a tangerine man. Let's see how that works with the pale light pink. Ooh, I don't like that one. I think maybe I want to bring my watercolors instead of these. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I will practice with these more for a different occasion. I will go ahead and bring my watercolors, which those of you that know me and those of you that have tuned in have seen me work with watercolors. I love working with watercolors. And so they're a lot quicker. And that's what I'm going to do for this particular occasion. I'm working with watercolors on some nice Fabriano watercolor paper. Make some original paintings for folks. So this is not anything but a little too much on that. I'm not going to do that again. Okay. So let's look for something different. Pale pink light. This is like really, they're fun tools, but they're so difficult to learn on the fly. You really gotta know what you're doing. I admire people that can do this. And I don't mind being on here right now, streaming, and you guys seeing me mess up. Because, I mean, I teach full-time at Cumberland High School here in Rhode Island. It's a local district. And one of the things about working full-time as an art teacher is that I get to tell the kids one really important thing. They sometimes don't know how to take it. I tell them that I'm only at the front of the classroom because I've screwed up more than they have. And I'm a very big believer in experimenting, trying, making the mistakes, and, learning from them. And I make a lot of mistakes with new things because I need to learn how they work. But that's why I challenge myself with new media. New media. Because I want to find out what's working and that is not. Way too dark. That brightens it up nicely. It still has a shadow. We'll give that. And again, this is all about experimenting and trying different things. Like I said, I haven't been ever wanting to use these types of markers. Like, I always steered away from them, didn't want to have anything to do with them. And, that kind of jaded me to what they can do. So, I figured, you know what, I'm going to give them a try. Because people love them, they use them all the time, they make wonderful art out of them. So I'm going to give them a whirl. And yeah, I went overboard again, like I do all the time, and I went ahead and I bought a set of like 100 and something. Now, the part about that they have to understand, and this is going to sound like any sort of like person that shops too much, they were on sale. They're very much on sale. They're an off-brand. They're not, Copics or anything like that. I don't want to start with a top-notch tool when I'm experimenting. I will eventually go to those, but, I did a lot of my early painting work with Liquid Tech Basics, which is their student line. Same with Winsor Newton. I used their student line when I was learning how to manipulate watercolor. Woof. One thing I do know, though, is how to make iridescent. He says ominously. I love making iridescent things. And I think these markers are going to be good for that. This is always a matter of like what colors do you put with what, where do you put them, how do you apply it. I know. I'm in a very red mood tonight, guys. My allergies are super kicking in, as you can hear with the nasally voice. So tomorrow's gonna be fun. At work, talking already. I heard that. Whoever said, like, you'd ever have a problem talking. Well, maybe I imagined it, but still. We got our pink down. Gonna work in our blue. And then our pastel green. I wish I had a color blender of these things. Just a blank alcohol marker. Yep, Definitely bringing watercolors to Beltane. Sorry for everybody who got excited about watching me struggle with a new material. I love you too. And I almost forgot this little guy's hair. Let's do something out of the way.
Oh, pretty.
Yes, it's very pretty.
Yes, I know.
A pastel blue. Why? Because I can. Because I'm doodling, I'm sketching. I'm trying to figure out some formulas for some fantastic fairies in a couple weeks. And I've already discovered that I'm absolutely not going to be using these markers since I am not well trained enough in them. I do not trust my competency or proficiency in them to justifiably sell someone artwork with it. So you are looking right now at me not failing, but really not knowing what I'm doing with these. And it's kind of fun every once in a while. Pick up a totally new tool and try to figure out what can I do with this. It's just a matter of how open are you to doing new things with new skills. And there we have it. We got one fairy done. Played around with Little Mermaid and got some stuff done in that, which is great because that is actually part of a larger painting I'm working on, which I keep teasing about, but it's a very long, drawn-out process. So sorry if you are waiting with bated breath. I hope whatever you baited it with wasn't too nasty. In the interim, I am going to say goodnight to our folk hanging out. Oh, Allegra's here in D Block. Hi, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm so happy. It's 8:22 here on the east coast of the United States, and I am going to settle down now, try to go rest my voice from all the fun allergies that have been kicking my tush. And what I will leave you with is stay safe, stay healthy, and make art.